Hello folks and welcome back to another tutorial. For this poster I have a document of 11 by 17 inches vertical. I begin by dragging the background. I put levels. And also a color balance adjustment layers. I group this layer. I drag now the Sparks picture. I will scale it and reposition it. I set the blend mode to screen. I make some duplicates to put sparks below and above, then after that I group all those layers. Let's bring now the great character, Thanos. I want only his head, so I make a selection to delete the rest of the body. I select the pen tool to make a selection. Then I make right-click, and make selection. In feather radius I leave it in 1, and I press OK. Also in the Paths panel, I double-click on that layer path, and I save it. This is for in case I need it. I create a layer mask, then I need to inverse the selection. I press Shift, Control or Command, and the I key to inverse that mask. Now I press Ctrl or Command L to bring up the levels adjustment. And I move the sliders a little bit. I go to the Image menu, Adjustments, then Shadows and Highlights. Then also I play with the sliders. I take the rectangular marquee tool, and I will make a selection to this part of the head. With the mask selected and with black color in the background, I press Ctrl or Command and the backspace key to delete that part. I move the face. Now, I will start to bring up the other characters to the composition. I begin the Loki character. And also the rest of them. There I have all my characters, I just make another transformation adjustments. Now, I will make color correction to every one of the characters. You can use any adjustment layers as you like. In my case, I'm using the levels and shadows and highlights adjustments. Also, I use the gradient overlay layer style to give a little bit of depth. I will put the characters' heroes in a folder group, then I leave Thanos alone but inside the with others. Now, I will be creating some light around each one of the characters. I begin with Thanos. For this I will use the inner shadow layer style. Just follow my settings, or use your own. Also I put a gradient overlay. This is for create a little bit of depth the face or body of the character. Now I will continue doing the same to the other characters. I select all the other characters by clicking on one then pressing and holding the Shift key. I will copy this layer style by making right-click in the layer, and select Copy Layer Style. Then right-click again and paste layer style. Now all the other characters have the same effect. I will just be making little adjustments to in the inner shadow to some of them. I create a new empty layer for the lights, and I select the brush tool. I will pick some of this yellow's colors that I have from the fire. I can sample any color while I have the brush tool selected by pressing and holding Alt or Option and click. I click to make the light. I change the blending mode to linear dodge. I make some duplicates, then I group it. I create another new layer. I will go to Filter, Render, then Clouds. Make sure to have black and white colors in the background and foreground. I change the blending mode of this layer to screen. I lower the opacity, and also I will create a layer mask to it. This is to create a little bit of fog effect. I take the brush tool with black color, I reduce the opacity and I paint. Now, I will drag the Thavengers title. And I also take the Marvel title. This is just for this tutorial. Now, I will be creating some little effects in the top. This is optional, just to give it a touch. I create a new empty layer, I take the marquee tool, and I make this rectangle. I select the gradient tool, with a transparent white color. And I make something like this. I lower the opacity. I convert it into a smart object. If I resize it, I keep the same quality. I duplicate this layer, and I place both in there. I create another new layer to make some slightly lights. I group this effects. I select the characters group folder, and I will put a little drop shadow to the whole group. I will make some other adjustments to the sparks. Now, the very last thing that I'm gonna do is create color effects. I create a solid color layer. I select some blue color. I change the blend mode to soft light and I lower the opacity to 20%. I create a color lookup. In the 3D LUT file, I select Bleach Bypass. I change the blending mode to multiply, then the opacity to 75%. I group the effects. Then there you have it. I hope you like this tutorial. Subscribe, like, comment and share. Download the final PSD file. Thank you for watching and I see you in the next video.